And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Friday, March 7th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Here we are on a Friday morning. We welcome you to the Friday edition of Coleman and Company, live, spontaneous, unrehearsed. And, of course, we welcome our advertiser, Wilson Bank and Trust, here every Friday. Daniel Sampson is with us today. Daniel Sampson, Assistant Vice President and Loan Officer. And good morning to you.
Morning, Coleman. Thank you for having me.
It's really nice to see you again. You and I have worked together a little bit at the Wilson County, Tennessee State Fair.
We have.
You're chairman or co-chairman of one of the committees I was on. You and your partner did all the work, and we got to watch. But anyway, how's the banking world?
Banking is good. It's good. You know, the market, regardless what you think of it, we continue to see good demand here, locally in Middle Tennessee and our Chattanooga market. So both on the deposit side and on the credit side as well.
How long you been with the bank?
Going on eight going on 9 years actually now. Yep.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. It does.
It has been a good experience for you, though. From all we hear, Wilson Bank Trust is a wonderful place to work, and it's your livelihood. You have a family, but it's more than a job too.
Absolutely. I mean, the bank is rooted in our communities, both for our customers and our employees. Right. So, like you said, I can't say enough good things about the bank. They've been good to me. Great place to work. You can work locally if you don't want to commute. Right. So, always investing back.
Yeah. And there's another thing. It's kind of expected of you to give a little back to the community and be involved in things. And I do know of your involvement with the fair. Not so sure about other things, but they don't. It's more than one thing usually.
Oh, it is. It is. And like you mentioned, the fair. I'm also a board member on the Lebanon Kiwanis Club with Miss Susie here too, and the Wilson County Sportsman's Club. Of course, we're always active in the chamber and new businesses opening. So there's plenty to do.
Well, as a loan officer, I guess the primary thing you do is make loans. Each day you probably considered almost a failure if you don't make at least one loan.
That's right. That's right. You know, they expect you to give a little money every now and then, but on the other hand, you got to get it back also. So, yeah.
But what are there any particular type loans that you specialize in, or are you pretty much adept at whatever the need might be?
Any of our loan officers can do it all, right? Typically, I do focus more on the residential construction side and then also in commercial lending, and that's anywhere from land development to vertical construction, whether that's commercial buildings, multifamily, townhomes, anything like that.
Well, and with 8 years under your belt, you've probably seen just about every once in a while something new comes down the road, or maybe a little bit different way of doing something. But you've had time to get a lot of experience under your belt.
That's right. That's right.
So, is it a good time to borrow money?
It is. It is, and we've got some loan specials out there. And I'm sure, if you keep up with the national news, you heard that mortgage rates have dropped, right, in the past week for the first time this year. So rate-wise, I think we're heading in the right direction. But as always, there will be needs. I always encourage people, hey, if it's the right deal, the right time, go ahead and make that move, right? You can always worry about refinancing later, but we do have some really good and attractive rates right now to offer.
How important is the relationship prior to getting that loan? You no doubt you check credit ratings. You get to know a little bit about somebody before you lend them a big sum of money. But is there some ways to establish that relationship that even helps when you come and ask for a loan?
Oh, absolutely. And we will definitely look at a brand new customer, right? I mean, don't get me wrong on that, but a full relationship is what we want at the bank, right? We want your deposits. We want your loans. We want to get you with our Raymond James team to help you with investing. We've got insurance hookups. We want to make a full relationship for all your financial needs, and I would say that's the utmost importance.
How I know we talk real estate here a couple of days a week, and especially Miss Judy, who'll be here a little bit later, gives us a lot of tips and everything. But that's changed a lot. Is borrowing money changed as much as real estate has in the last 20 years?
Not so much. I mean, sure, there are more regulations, right? We do see that coming. But for the most part, no. We like I said, you go back to the 5 C's of character, and I always pull back the top one to me is character, right? Now, someone's got to have the capacity, they have the credit, right, to be able to make the loan. But you go back to the character, you know your person, we can usually make something work.
All right, Daniel Sampson, we didn't establish this, I don't think. Where do you work? Which office?
Main branch, 623 West Main Street in Lebanon.
Main branch, Wilson Bank and Trust. Daniel Sampson, Assistant Vice President and Loan Officer. And we usually close by saying Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender, still here, still independent, still committed to you. Excellence in banking since 1987. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We're 10 minutes after the hour. It's Friday, and Friday means that it is time for our Friday Senate Report. Here is Senator Mark Pody.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day to be alive.
You're looking better out there, isn't it?
It is. You know, temperatures are coming. Spring's here. I know we got the time change coming up this weekend. So, yes, things are really good. I can tell you our chickens are laying more with more daylight. So our egg production's up, and all of our lambs are being born this week right now.
Oh, you have sheep?
Yes, sir.
I had not heard that.
So we try and keep our male the ram away from them, and so they're not going to be born like in December, January, but we time it out so they're going to be born in February, and we think that's the perfect time for them. It's not too cold, it just is perfect in March, so we're here.
Well, you haven't always dabbled in agriculture, have you?
Well, when I was actually a lot in agriculture up in Wisconsin. I worked on a dairy farm up there, so I was on the farm a lot. And, we also worked on a horse ranch and such. So I like farming, and I think that's important, and that's why I enjoy being out on the farm now. But I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't want to make a living at it like some of our farmers do. It is a great place for me to raise kids, and grandkids come out, and they enjoy it. So we really want them to get back to nature as much as we can and understand how farms work and where food comes from.
I think you said that so well. It's wonderful as long as it's not your main livelihood.
Yes.
Well, we better get to the Senate thing. What else is going on?
All right. Well, why I'm on agriculture, just say I am actually on the Ag Committee as well. And we've got terrific farmers here. I'm telling you that Tennessee and Wilson County, in fact, Wilson County has the most century farms across the state and such, so we've got a great agricultural community here. And we want to make sure we can retain that. Even with all the development we have going on, it's important to be watching out for our farmers. And so just a shout out to them. But at the Capitol, we're about halfway through right now. So we had to look at it. In fact, I'm getting notices right now from most of the committees saying if I don't put bills on notice next week, they will not be heard. So we are literally about halfway through the session. If we had to guess, I'm guessing we're going to be ending the last week in January. In April is where we'll be done.
Well, that's pretty normal. Every once in a while, it's a little bit earlier than that, but more times it's probably the first week of May rather than the third week of April.
But it is moving quickly right now. I can tell you that the bills that we're having on calendar right now, there's a lot. I'm in education, and there's a lot of them on there. I do want to give a shout out to the advisory board that I have. I meet with a group of people every Thursday, and we're about to be changing it from the Davidson County Advisory Board to Wilson County. So that'll be starting not next week, the following week. So we'll be meeting here in Wilson County, and I just try and meet with citizens, Republicans, Democrats, Independents from all walks of life to get their input, and they help me review bills and give me their thoughts on legislation we're going to be voting on.
I want to ask if we could do this before we go to the break here, a couple of minutes. This bill that's been talked about, I know it's been on the television news anyway, about telephones in classrooms.
Yes.
Have you been involved directly in that?
Yes, we have. So I am actually on the Education Committee, and there's several things that have gone through education, and I typically don't vote for anything if it's a good idea. that I'll pass on good ideas if it says that requires the school board to do something. I think that we've got elected school boards to make these decisions, and we don't want Washington, D.C. to tell Nashville what to do and Tennessee what to do, and we don't want Nashville telling our local school boards what to do. So most things that come through, even if they're a good idea, I say no to it if the locals already have that opportunity. One of them, for example, was recesses. Mm-hmm. Should we have more recesses? Well, it passed the committee, but I was a no vote on it because it told the local school boards they had to do something. But the 911, the cell phones was something different. All the data showed, and I looked at the data, reviewed the data on the schools that have done this as well as other states that have done it, and the scores have gone up. And even though the local school boards have that authority, it just seems the data was overwhelming that we need to have some sort of policy. So we're not telling them what their policy needs to be, but we're saying come up with a policy, what you think is best for your local school system. So the cell phones will have to follow, the students have to follow that policy. However, the data shows that the kids do better without the cell phones.
Okay. With that, we will take a break. Our Friday Senate Report with Senator Mark Pody will continue here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and get a battery installed in most vehicles. $199.95. Bates Ford, 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's been limping along down through here in Hermitage from that early morning crash we had on 40 westbound just before you get to Old Hickory Boulevard. Again, it's affected that traffic big time. This morning coming in from Wilson County from Mount Juliet, it's been really slow here in Davidson County on 40 going west, just trying to get up to OHB here in the Hermitage area. Again, keep that in mind if you're coming in from Lebanon, Wilson County towards Nashville. Again, because of this slowdown as it builds 65 southbound down through Madison right now, passing Briley Parkway. Princess Hot Chicken has new items on the menu. Check them all out this weekend. Order online. It's easy. That menu's on there at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Have you ever desired to live in a stately historical home in the Lebanon Historical District? If so, now you have the opportunity. This is Lou Ann Snyder of A.G. & Johnson Realty, and along with Ed James, we have a large 2-story home listed in the Cumberland University Historic District. It features a brand new roof plus a new HVAC system. Call Ed or myself, Lou Ann, at 615-444-0909 to schedule a tour.
Are you looking for a great career with a great company? Do you have extensive heavy equipment experience? AMI Construction, based out of Lebanon, Tennessee, is seeking skilled motor grader operators to join our team. The ideal candidate must have a minimum of 2 years operating a grader. We offer awesome benefits, such as company-paid health insurance, competitive pay, and more. If you're interested in joining a growing company, please visit our website at www.amiconstructioninc.com/join the team or call our office 615-547-0797.
When we continue here, thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Senator Mark Pody. He's here every Friday. And let's get into something here. You were telling me during the break, this has been a lot of discussion, somewhat of a controversial thing, so tell us about it.
So it was actually a Senate Bill 836, and it has to do with this. It was carried by Senator Watson, and it says that if a local school board is going to have the opportunity to say, for undocumented children, should they be allowed to go to school? Now, there's been a ruling from the Supreme Court that said that they should, that we have to give public education to all children, whether they're here legally or not, whether they're documented or not. They're all entitled to a free education. But in that Supreme Court ruling, it was a 5-4 ruling. So it was a very, very, very close ruling, and that was a few years ago, and the Supreme Court's actually changed, okay? And they feel if this case went to them today, that it might be a different ruling. So the question was, do we want to make this case and pass this piece of legislation? It would be immediately challenged and start going through the court. So it wouldn't necessarily actually affect the kids because to be challenged and enjoined. So it's not going to say, boy, the kids can't go to school at this point. However, when I was hearing this bill, and I'm looking at it, and a lot of the Republicans and very conservative Republicans were very much in favor of it, and they wanted me to vote for it. However, I just didn't feel this was going to be the best interest of Tennessee. I think I don't want to put my local school boards in a position saying, we're going to have to check your documentation. We're going to have to see if you're legal. We got to make those requirements. I didn't think that was the local school board's place to do that. And if I have an issue with undocumented individuals, I don't need to be focused on the kids. I need to be focused perhaps on the employers that are employing them and other things. I didn't think the fight needed to be with the kids, so I voted against it. Now, I'm going to tell you, a lot of Republicans got upset with me, and I've heard about that. But it did pass, but barely passed. Barely passed in the Senate Education Committee. So we'll see how it handles on the Senate floor. But that was something that was a very, very controversial bill down there. Now, again, I'm not trying to say I'm here to endorse people that are here undocumented or anything like that, but I didn't think the fight should be with the kids, and so I voted against the bill.
You have any feeling for how it'll go when it gets to the floor?
I think it'll pass on the floor, and I'm not sure where it is in the House at this point, but it was close in Senate. It was really, really close.
Well, is this pretty much a Republican, or to at least some degree, a Republican-Democrat?
Yes.
I mean, most of the Democrats are going to be for it. A lot of the Republicans are opposed.
Well, the Republicans, most of them would be for this bill, and the Democrats would be against it.
Okay, sorry, I said it backwards.
Yeah,
okay.
But so in this case, though, I voted, I voted to not support this bill. It just didn't feel good for me to be going against kids. That's not where I need to be. I want to fight, but I'm not going to fight that battle at this point. Something else we got going right now is on Monday, I've got the Jewish Council. We got the consulate coming in from Jerusalem, and actually they represent us. They're in the Southeast Division, and their consulate's name's Anat, and we're going to be honoring her on the floor, and we're starting a Jewish council as well, just kind of saying we support Israel. So I'm actually in the Senate. I'm the sponsor of that, and Scott Zepicki is the sponsor in the House, but it's a bipartisan thing that's saying that we want to stand with Israel. That's on Monday. I've got a bill coming up that's going to be going through the committees, and it's called the Mature Minor Doctrine. And what that says is this: I've had somebody call me, and they said they got a bill from a medical profession. It was one of the hospitals, and they called about the bill and said, what is this bill for? And they said, well, one of your kids came in and had some treatment, and here's the bill. And the parent said, well, what was the treatment? What happened? And they said, well, we're not allowed to tell you, but you got to pay the bill. And they called me and they said, Senator, how can a hospital send me a bill and threaten to take collections if I don't even know what they treated them for? And so they said, well, if you go and have your child sign saying that you're allowed to see the records, then you can get that. Well, that's not what's supposed to happen. A parent's supposed to have access to this information. So I'm writing a piece of legislation to make sure there's clarity in that. Now, there is all the exceptions that, look, if they're being sexually abused by somebody or whatever, then they need to be turning that over to law enforcement to get prosecuted and so forth. So we got all those protections in there. But parents are the ones that are supposed to be making these decisions, not government. So that's working through. Senator, I'm also working on a blasting bill, and that's with Representative Clark Boyd. So, we've had a lot of blasting, and anytime that somebody's doing a lot of building and things like that, but there's got to be a little bit of balance that we can still do the infrastructure that we need, but the blasting needs to be done in such a way it's not wrecking houses and so forth. So we're just saying that.
Well, how are you going to do that?
So what's happening is when somebody goes and they're going to say, we're going to be blasting in this area.
Yeah.
And the company is supposed to go and inspect the houses or businesses beforehand and do a report on that. So they can say, hey, here's the condition of the house, here's the condition of everything. And they have that on file before the blasting starts. And that way, if there's a problem, they can go back and say, see, here's the report that we submitted before the blasting. Well, I think the homeowner deserves a copy of that. Well, right now, the homeowner has to pay to go get a copy of what that report is. And we're saying, well, they're entitled to that report. And so Representative Boyd and I are working on a piece of legislation to make sure the homeowner is going to get a copy of that report. We don't want to be charged and so forth. So we're working through that. Another one that I'm working through that's going to be coming up is prisons. And I think we've talked about this in the past, and I was supposed to present it this week. However, the governor and the lieutenant governor have asked that we delay it for 2 weeks. So it won't be this coming week. The following week is before we're going to present that. But I talked to the committee members. I think we're really on board, and I think we're going to have an oversight committee that's going to watch over our prisons. And Coleman, we've got some serious issues with our prisons, and this is going to help us take care of that right now.
What are the chances of this sailing through?
Very good. I believe that I can't speak for the House as much because I'm not involved in their committees, but in the Senate, there's a big appetite to say that our prisons need to have a little more oversight. We need to know more what's going on. And we're very adamant about trying to get something done this year.
Exactly. If you can, quickly, a little more specific about this particular piece of legislation.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you we got issues with individual prisons, but we also got individuals with the whole system, all 14 prisons. This is going to be opening it up. So there's going to be a private investigative unit that will be able to investigate all 14 prisons, find out exactly what's going on, how the drugs are getting in, how cell phones are getting into the prisons, how we can stop some of these things, who's doing it, why there's not more prosecution. I can tell you that Jason Lawson's right on top of this, and he has been very helpful in telling me what's going on. He's definitely prosecuting whenever something's brought before him, but we are looking at the entire state, and I've toured our prisons across the state, so I know that there's issues not just right here locally, but it's a much bigger issue than just what we have locally.
And chances good for this to go through?
It's very good that it's going to go through the Senate. I think I've got very much support. There's 9 members on the committee, and I think I'm going to have at least 8, maybe 9. So we are very strong in getting this through, even though, I've got some pushback from the executive branch. Of course, the commissioner is not in favor of this at all, but I'm not here to do
why are they opposed?
So this would fall underneath the executive branch on who's overseeing it, and so that's the governor's role. And the commissioner works for the governor, and he says everything's fine. So he feels that everything is fine. The governor said, I trust my commissioner. If he says everything's fine, everything's fine. And we're going to take legislative action to get this done.
Okay.
So it's one time, I guess I'm going against the governor again to say, but this is an important issue. And we got 3 equal branches of government, and the legislature is going to do its part. In fact, I ran a piece of legislation that affected the governor this week. It passed on the floor, and it passed bipartisan. In fact, in the Senate floor, I only had like one person vote against it. And it basically says this, that nobody can put our Constitution suspended. Even if there's an emergency, you can't suspend the Constitution. Now, our governor, I'm not saying did that over the last few emergencies that we had, but we watched across the nation that they did. They literally suspended the Constitution in certain states to say that the emergency was more important than the Constitution. And what I said in our piece of legislation, we swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, and we're going to put it in law that the governor cannot suspend our Constitution, even in an emergency. We still gave him all the power and authority to suspend laws, to suspend policies and so forth, to take care of whatever emergencies he needs to take care of. But our Constitution needs to stand.
I am wondering, there's been a time or two this year when there's been some demonstrations, been a number of people at the Capitol and all this. Is things quieted down in that regard?
Yes. We still have people coming down to share their viewpoints and such, and they're welcome, and I want them to come and do that. But it is not anywhere near what it has been in the last few years. It's probably been one of the quietest ones we've been through since I've been down there. So we don't have a lot of that controversy. I can tell you, though, one of the pieces of legislation I'm doing for Wilson County, and TDEC has done a report, and the report said that a lot of our sewer systems, step sewer systems and such, had failed here in Wilson County. In fact, we're the second highest in the state. And as we're going through to say, hey, how do we get these systems online? How do we get them fixed and so forth? And there's not really the teeth that we could have in there. And some of the homeowners that are in some of these subdivisions may end up with a higher bill or an assessment or whatever. And I want to make sure that doesn't go on in the future. So I've said any of the new systems that are going to go in, we've got to have a performance bond to make sure that they're going to stay working and not be put back on that homeowner. If I'm a homeowner and I buy something in a brand new subdivision, my expectation expectation is that the right permits have been pulled, that the systems have been approved, and I should have a system that works for the time period that it should be. So we're running in there, and I'm going to be putting a permitting process through there, and it's going to have a bond to make sure that somebody's going to be held accountable if that system fails.
We got about a minute and a half. You got some more, I'm sure.
Yep. So I am going to the town hall meeting. It's first Friday of the month, and I always want to try and hear from my constituents, whether they agree with me, don't agree with me. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to be able to listen to what they're telling me, and it's important that we do this. I can tell you one more thing. You know, we've talked about transportation and trying to get more money in there. We're moving forward on that bill, and it's passed our committee right now. So now it's going to finance. It's passed in the House as well, and their committee. So this finally looks like it's going forward, but the finance part is going to be the biggest issue. But we got a road issue. We've got to take care of them. Coleman, you've heard me talk on that for years. I am fighting for our roads.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being with us. We'll do it again next Friday, and as we go through this legislative session, and we got your word this morning. You're probably going to end around the end of April. You're about halfway through, and I guess that's good news. But it's a busy time for you, but you do hear a lot from your constituents and make yourself available. And what time is it? Right at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yep.
At where?
Mount Juliet Chamber.
Mount Juliet Chamber this morning. All right. Well, thanks. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, Coleman.
Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate report, and that is part one of Coleman and Company. Please keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota, they will help you rent the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota, take advantage of, and check it out. They've got the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Here in Hermitage, this wreck is still in its clearing stages on 40 westbound, just before you get to OHB. And boy, did it really snag that traffic that's coming in right now from Wilson County, trying to get into Davidson County here at the county line. Again, this wreck is in its clearing stages. It's really just rubbernecking delays up through here on 40 westbound, just before Old Hickory Boulevard. Give yourself extra time out here this morning just to be on the safe side. Princess Hot Chicken has live entertainment every Wednesday night. Check out that menu this weekend. Order online. It's easy. PrincessHotChicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Save time and money with a business account from Wilson Bank and Trust. Our great account benefits help you grow your business with online and mobile banking. No monthly fee for bill pay and low monthly balance requirements. You'll enjoy easier record keeping and tax reporting when you open a business account to keep your business expense separate from personal too. A business account helps preserve your personal liability protections from business obligations. Wilson Bank and Trust is here to get you there. Visit us at any of our 30 office locations across Tennessee or go online at wilsonbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, Cumberland Phoenix baseball fans. This is Ty Martin, and I'm an outfielder on the Cumberland baseball team. I'm from Gallatin, Tennessee. We're having a great season so far, but we have our toughest test coming up. On the weekend, we host Lourdes University of Ohio in a 3-game series at the 6. You can hear every pitch on these radio stations or online at WANTFM.com and GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Go check out the CU website for game times as they subject to change. Thank you guys for listening. Go Phoenix.
We'll have cloudy skies today with warmer conditions. Afternoon highs in the mid-60s. Cloudy tonight with a slight chance of a rain shower. Lows in the upper 40s and then mostly cloudy on Saturday. Highs in the mid-50s. This weather forecast brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. With your severe view forecast, I'm Storm Specialist Drew Richards.
We welcome you to part 2 of Coleman and Company. Welcome here on a Friday morning. Hey, the sun's shining. It was cloudy and overcast an hour ago, but hey, welcome to the C&D Team X at Rocky Top Realty. I tell you what our problem is. I hadn't turned your mic on.
Oh, shame on you.
Well, Miss Judy's is on.
Wow,
but yours
okay.
was, I I got halfway there. But anyway, C&D Team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, 1330 West Main in Lebanon. Great people, great service people you can trust. All right, you're going to get us started.
Well, I guess I will. It's Friday morning.
Well, we are glad to see Medina bright and whatever this morning.
Bright and
no
whatever.
Doubt,
bright and cheery.
No doubt feeling better.
Feeling better, yes. She's looking better every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
My sparkle is back, as they say.
She looks like $1 million today.
There you go.
Hey, I did over $1 million last year.
Oh, my goodness. But I was going to talk a little bit about staging your home. Do you know what that is, Coleman? What do you think that is?
Staging your home.
Yes.
Is getting it all in apple pie order for people to come and look at when they want to buy.
Well, that's another definition. I had a little boy once who came to his house and he goes, "My mama says we got to keep the house just like the preacher's coming every day for dinner." And he said, "My room's got to be that way if the preacher's coming every day." So anyway, but staging is really taking a home and making a product out of it, if you think of that. And there's staging can be about a 50-50. Some people want to do it. Some people don't want to do it. And some people couldn't know how to do it on their own because it's a lot of basic things. But then some people can't quite get it and they need a stager to come in. So we have about half the homes do it and half the homes don't. So, and there are professional stagers here in town that we can recommend to help you out on that. But you
don't do that yourself?
Well, we can go through and help you with it.
Okay.
We're not a professional stager, but we don't have the license to do it. But we can go through and pretty much help you get that. Because it basically boils down, you want to depersonalize your house. When your refrigerator, when you can't see if it's, what color the refrigerator is because you got so many little notes all over it, and the kids' pictures and all that. That's those things make a home. I get it, but you've got to clear some of that out. Mm-hmm. It's just like when you put your Christmas tree up and you have it up for December, and when you take it down, all the women goes, "Wow, our room looks a lot bigger now." Well, that's the same feeling when you move some of this stuff out. You start going, this room is a lot bigger than I thought. So that's the feeling that you want the people to have when they come to the house. Mm-hmm. And you want to get rid of anything that shows that there's a pet living there. Because some people come in now and so many kids are allergic to pets and dog hair and all this kind of stuff. You got to make sure that you depersonalized for your pets also. And, a lot of people will make their windows look bigger. They'll fix their curtains, put the rods out further, and it makes the window look like a bigger window than what it really is. So they're keeping all the sunlight coming through. So there's lots of ways to stage, but mainly it's declutter is your biggest thing on staging, is declutter. If you're not using it, we tell people, if you're not going to use this the next 6 months, hide it somewhere. Put it in the garage, put it in the attic, do something with it. Because usually in 6 months, hopefully your house is going to be gone. So
I got some children that would say, throw it away.
Well, most of the kids do. Yeah. The older generation, they keep it, and they keep all this stuff, and then we go in, and after they've passed, the kids go, "We don't want that stuff." And I'm thinking, these are things that people have saved, all collections of Fostoria, everything, and kids are like, "I don't want that, get rid of it." So, a lot of times we have to help get rid of things that people have spent their whole life collecting because this generation is more of a, just if you don't use it, throw it away kind of thing. But you do, if you're not going to use it the next 6 months, we tell women, especially in their closets, go in there, and if it's summertime, you take everything out of there that's winter, get it out, because you're not going to be using it for the next 6 months. Because if a woman walks in a closet and there's not a room to hang another hanger, they're like, this closet's too little. But if they got spaces there, they're like, hey, she's got plenty of room, so I'll have plenty of room. It's a mind concept when you're showing houses. And that's what some people only get one chance for them to walk through. And if they feel like it's too crowded, and you got to think it's the realtor, the husband and wife usually, and then a couple of kids, they're walking through there. Well, if there's not a pathway and they're stepping all over each other to walk through the flow of the house, that makes it feel a lot smaller too. So you just want to, when you're getting ready to sell your house, you got to do everything you can to make this work. So that's why we sometimes have to go back and go, that countertop in the kitchen, when's the last time you used that piece of equipment right there? I use it at Christmas. Well, let's get it away. So you want to go look at, just sit in your living room and sit around and look and say, what have I not used in here in 6 months? And you can only have so many lamps and so many tables. So for 6 months. So, and then when you bought your new house, fix it like you want to. But when you're trying to sell, you got to think of the public.
Yeah.
Not your own taste. All right? I'm going to let Medina go.
Great advice. All right, Medina, it's your
always
turn.
good advice, isn't it?
Yes, always. Yes.
It makes you think. Like I said, you think you know everything or a lot of things, and then the next day you get up and you go do your job at real estate and you learn something new. And it's usually from her that you learn something from. So I have one of the best teachers with me. So anyway, we're having open house on Sunday at 1509 Cedar Brook Drive in Lebanon in Stonebridge. And so come on over and see us from Sunday 2 to 4. It's a villa. It is or a condo. It's 3 bedrooms and 3 full baths. It has a 2-car garage. The primary is on the main floor. You have an upstairs that has a bedroom and an unfinished room and a full bathroom. So the unfinished room could be a flex room, could be a bonus room, could be a rec room, could be an office, however you wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. So it also has a screened back porch or patio, and those screens are motorized. So you can, you don't have to raise them up and down yourself. Motorize them. So come on by. It's $489.9 is the price. So come on over to see that. And then we also have a new listing on Pinhook Road off of Old Murfreesboro Road West and off of Franklin Road. Mm-hmm. And it's land. It's 3.98 acres, so basically 4 acres. And excuse me, it has over 1,000 square feet of, or 1,000 foot of road frontage in the front there. And it also has a house sitting on it, and it is a livable house. It does have 2 bedrooms and 1 full bath, and it has window air conditioning. So it has a new roof and a new water heater in it. So it could be a great rental property if somebody wanted to come in and have the 4 acres for that, or remove the house and build your own house. But it's on Pinhook Road here in Lebanon, and it's listed at $299,000. Right. So give us a call there. And if you're looking for it to be in Five Oaks, we've got 162 Village Circle. We've got that for sale, and it's a townhouse in the Villages of Five Oaks, and it's listed at $484,000. So give us a call there. It's a beautiful home. It has a screened-in back porch as well, and it's a 3-bedroom and 3 full bath, and the primary is on the main floor as well, and another bedroom is on the floor as well. So give us a call. That one is easy to show and move-in ready. So give us a call.
615-443-3130.
You got it.
That's it.
Coleman, if you're looking for the Realtor of the Year, give us a call, because you don't want to make a move without us.
What a way to end it. Y'all have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.
See you next Friday. C&D Team X at Rocky Top Realty. Judy Cox, Medina Hemmentoller. And we're about 20 before the hour. My guest this morning, let me say the program is paid for by the Wilson County Democratic Women, and Brittany Hilton is with us here live in studio. Brittany, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And let me go to the telephone here. And on the phone, we are supposed to have 2 people this morning, and I take it that they are there, but I'm going to introduce Dr. Amy Bono. Is that you?
That is me, but we've
right.
got someone else with us first.
And State Representative Bob Freeman.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right. Well, good morning to both of you. I think you're coming in fine, and we'll get things going here with Brittany Hilton this morning. Brittany is president of the Wilson County Democratic Women. I guess you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, if you'd like to start out that way.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for letting us be here today. One of the things that we do as the Wilson County Democratic Women is outside of the political work that we do, we're really focused on building community with other Democrats and with the community as a whole. One of the ways we're doing that right now is our annual fundraiser for LSSD's summer reading program. If you aren't familiar, it's this really great program. The kids come to the Neon buses, they get a free lunch, They get a free age-appropriate book that they get to keep. It's a very effective program. It's just wonderful for the kids, and we're super excited to be supporting it again this year. I also want to mention that our statewide organization, the Tennessee Federation of Democratic Women, has a scholarship opportunity available. If you go to our website, wilsoncodemwomen.org, you can find more information about the scholarship, about the fundraiser.
This is something you're doing kind of in the interest of public service and this sort of thing. I guess looking at things more from a political view, what's on the minds of the Democrats this week?
Yeah, I think I hear from a lot of people that, especially at the state level, we've got a lot of great people up there in the legislature, a lot of great Democrats bringing up really good bills, and we don't necessarily always get to hear very much from them, which is why we're asking, people like Representative Freeman to come and be on your radio show so that we can get those ideas out. Mm-hmm. They'll really help a lot of people.
Well, it's almost time for us to go to a break, and we will we'll hear from Representative Freeman and Dr. Amy Bono after that. Anything else in particular on your mind that you want to mention at this time?
Just that, again, if you're interested in learning more about our group or about those, the scholarship and fundraiser, you can visit our website, or you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, social media, all over.
Okay. All right. Let's pause for a break right here, and I'll reintroduce the three people who are our guests this morning. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, regular oil change $39.95 up to 5 quarts of oil. Tax and disposal $17.80 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Here in Hermitage, this wreck is still in its clearing stages on 40 westbound, just before you get to OHB, and boy, did it really snag that traffic that's coming in right now from Wilson County, trying to get into Davidson County here at the county line. Again, this wreck is in its clearing stages. It's really just rubbernecking delays up through here on 40 westbound, just before Old Hickory Boulevard. Give yourself extra time out here this morning just to be on the safe side. Princess Hot Chicken has live entertainment every Wednesday night. Check out that menu this weekend. Order online. It's easy, princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Here comes the sun. Hey, Medina, here comes the sun. Spring is just around the corner.
Call us and we can come over and tell you what your home is worth in this market, and it's free.
Yes, free and no obligation. It's time to get ready for the spring buyers. Inventory is low. We have buyers who need listings.
Here comes the sun. And remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
It's all right.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is in a new location, 1746 West Main in Lebanon, across from Sports Village. Gregory Dental Group offers cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs.
No insurance? No problem. Call about the discount plan. Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322.
All right, we continue here on this Friday morning, and if you joined us late, our program is being paid for by the Wilson County Democratic Women. In studio with me is Brittany Hilton, president of the Democratic Women Wilson County, and on the telephone we have State Representative Bob Freeman is calling in from Nashville, along with Dr. Amy Bono, who practices internal medicine in Mount Juliet. She has the day off today and is joining us by phone as well. Well, which one of you want to get started here? Well, according to my cue sheet, it says you, State Representative Bob Freeman. So tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
Well, thank you for having us on this morning. I've got deep family roots in Wilson County, so even though I live in Nashville now, I still think fondly of Wilson County. I am serving in my fourth term in the Tennessee State House. I represent Southern Davidson County. I've worked hard to try to act on bipartisan bills and work with any legislator that's willing to work with me to get work done for the state of Tennessee. I think if you ask most people, they don't really care what your party is. They just want to see results, and that's kind of been my MO for the last 7 years. I serve on the finance committee, insurance. I've served on health, but I'm probably most proud on about the fact that I've been selected to serve on the ethics committee. And so it's a select group of legislators that they believe uphold the highest ethical standards and will ensure that the rest of the legislature does the same. And so that's me. I've got 3 kids. My wife is the president of the Sexual Assault Center, and she's changing more lives than I am every day. I definitely outkick my coverage on that one. But just happy to be on the show.
All right. Well, what are Democrats working on in the state legislature that you'd like to talk about this morning?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking that question. I mean, a couple of different things. The Tennessee Waste to Jobs Act is a really big one. It would create a mechanism through which producers would set aside pennies on the dollar based on how much waste they would put into the system on the back end, and it would create a recycling facility in multiple parts across the state. Currently in Tennessee, we have dumps that are at capacity. We as taxpayers are paying this cost already, and we're throwing away millions of dollars of raw materials that could be recycled. And large producers, Nestle and the like, and Mars have come forth and said, "Hey, we support this idea, and let's make sure that we're paying the right tax on this, because right now the tax is coming on the back end as opposed to looking at it as it being produced." Going through trying to pass a bill that would allow for people who admitted to a crime, pled guilty to a crime that they didn't commit. In many cases, somebody will sit down and strong arm them and say, "Hey, listen, you either admit that you did it because we've got the evidence, or you're going to get 51 years to life or the death penalty." And people admit because they're scared, they don't know, they don't have good representation, and later non-scientific evidence comes out, videos, phone calls, phone records, and the like, proving that they didn't do it and or that someone else did. And in Tennessee, there's no mechanism for those people to have their case retried. I'm not soft on crime. I want people that do crime to serve their time, but I want to make sure that we're sending the right people to prison. There are story after story of people that were falsely convicted, and in Tennessee right now, there's not a mechanism for those folks to get out.
How would you propose setting up such a mechanism, and what kind of cost are we thinking about?
Well, the cost would be minimal. We used to allow for non-scientific evidence to be heard regardless. About 20 years ago, we changed it that if you plead guilty, if you're found to be guilty, you can come back and have non-scientific evidence heard. If you plead guilty, you can't. And so that's really the only change. And we're still in negotiations with the DA's conference and the Attorney General and a couple other groups to try and figure out the mechanism. But the way I see it is you would take that evidence to a DA and say, "We have found new evidence that was not discovered during the trial that proves innocence." It would go in front of a judge for the judge to verify, just like you would anything else, whether it's substantial enough to reopen the case, and then the case would be reopened and the information would be heard.
At what stage is this legislation? Or is this just in the talking, or is there some legislation been drafted?
There's a bill. Yes, sir. There's a bill that's drafted. It's House Bill 601, And it's out there. If anybody wants to read it, feel free to read it. Again, we are in the process of working with the committee to make sure it's in the best posture that it can move forward. But again, I think everybody agrees that we want to make sure that people pay the price for their crime, but we also want to make sure that the right people are doing it. And if we have evidence that proves that someone is innocent, we should be able to hear it, and it shouldn't be withheld simply because of a technicality in our law.
All right. Are there other bills that we should be looking out for?
Yes, sir. There is a bill that just passed and is going to go to the House floor on Monday, the Voyeurism Victims Act. And I don't know, people may have read the article about a man in Tennessee that recorded multiple women in intimate settings without their knowledge. And when they tried to press charges, they quickly found out that the real crime is in distribution, that if you share the video, it's a simple misdemeanor if you record somebody without their knowledge. And so this person could very likely not really serve any time. I can't really talk about the details because it's an ongoing case, but I can talk about the law. And I believe it should be more strict than a misdemeanor. And so we made it a felony act to record somebody without their knowledge. We told the statute of limitations so that you can bring the case forward based on when the information is found, not based on when it was recorded. Multiple women in this case were recorded over a year ago, and so they aren't even eligible to be part of the lawsuit because their statute of limitations ran. And then allowing someone to get an order of protection based on this act.
Okay, we got about 5 minutes left, and so Representative Bob Freeman, thank you for being with us. Let's get to Dr. Amy Bono now, who is also on the phone. Thank you, and make it brief. But Dr. Bono, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a doctor, a mom, and a native Tennessean. I'm originally from Pulaski, Tennessee. I practice outpatient internal medicine in Mount Juliet, and I enjoy caring for adults in my clinic there. In addition to my medical training, I also hold a Master's of Public Health degree, and I've been in practice in our area since 2011. I have 2 young children, and I really need to thank my husband for getting them both to school today.
All right. With the recent measles death in Texas and a death earlier this week in Tennessee from the flu, you wanted to talk about the importance of vaccines.
Yes, sir. The measles outbreak in Texas is concerning. We've seen an unvaccinated school-age child die, and now just yesterday, an unvaccinated adult die of measles. We all rely on each other to help limit the risk of infectious disease to any one person. Infections really do spread easily in unprotected populations. And the best way to protect yourself and others from deadly and disabling viruses like measles or the flu or coronavirus or polio is to vaccinate yourself and your children and keep up to date on these vaccinations. And really, taking a vaccine is a way to help protect yourself and your community. So we really do need to unite together against these infectious diseases to take vaccines because really we're just all stronger together.
Well, are there exceptions for vaccines in Tennessee?
Yes, there are. And, as a doctor, I am very thankful for the privilege to help patients and families, make their life decisions. I want to be there to support them in making those personal decisions. And time again, I know that vaccines are the best way to help protect yourself, your family, and your community. For routine childhood vaccinations, there are medical exemptions and religious exemptions honored in Tennessee. Current law does allow for parental choice in those manners. The CDC's recommended immunization schedule helps protect children from 14 serious diseases by the time they reach 2 years old. And so to be clear, when I say routine childhood vaccinations and when we are defining vaccination rates, we're talking about what percentage of Tennessee children who are age 35 months, so about 3 years old, who are protected by the age-appropriate recommended vaccines against diseases like measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, or whooping cough. So with the most recent data here in Tennessee, we are just barely over 70% of kids meeting that mark. And that puts our state close to the bottom of American states for meeting childhood vaccination goals. Back in the Tennessee I grew up in back at one point in the early 2010s, Tennessee was among the best states in the nation for vaccine coverage.
All right, can you
improvement.
Can you tell us a little bit more about state laws or bills relating to vaccines, and if there's any proposed legislation about to be considered?
Well, so I was fortunate to be at the state capitol this past Tuesday, and I heard Representative Susan Lynn present a bill that would delete the responsibility that a person's child receives vaccines according to the guidelines of the CDC or the American Academy of Pediatrics. The law she is targeting has existed for more than 30 years and was updated in 1996 to reflect the creation of the Vaccines for Children's program, which is a very important program that helps American children access vaccines. And so as I was listening to her presentation, she was really misrepresenting the existing law, calling it unconstitutional and such. Thankfully, two physician legislators who are on the House Population Health Committee helped set the record straight about the realities of this existing law and her bill. Fortunately, the bill was sent to summer studies, so it won't be heard the remainder of this session. But, this type of legislation is still very harmful. This type of legislation, merely it being filed and presented by legislators in power with a microphone, it makes people fearful. Statements made in the halls of power by, Representative Lynn and others this week and so many years prior, they're just hard to hear because I know that those words make people not trust me as their doctor and really just not trust vaccines as the life-saving things that they are. So vaccines save lives, and that's the biggest truth I can tell you today.
All right, we're about to run out of time here, but Dr. Amy Bone and State Representative Bob Freeman, thank you all for being with us. But any final thoughts as we go back to Brittany Hilton here to close it out this morning?
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone, invite everyone to get to know your Wilson County Democrats. Whatever the national news has painted of Democrats, you might find is a little different here in Wilson County. So if you'd like to keep up with everything that we're doing, find our website, wilsoncodemwomen.org. Follow us on social media.
All right. Well, we thank the three of you for being with us today. And a reminder as we close that the program has been paid for by the Wilson County Democratic Women. And that's going to do it for Friday. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Till Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.